US President Donald Trump has finally dropped all pretense on his fake concern for Gaza. It's now clear that he's been directly participating in the genocide of hundreds of thousands of starving Palestinians. Up until now, you and I looked at the visuals of depraved Israeli terrorists laughing after mercilessly murdering Palestinian children and babies with utter shock. We wondered what kind of psychopaths these Israelis were, that they celebrated their action of starving children and babies and shooting them dead for fun. Well, it has now emerged that not only are these Israelis psychopaths suffering from mental derangement, but joining their depravity has been the President of the United States of America. As if the complete destruction of Gaza wasn't enough, this convicted felon has now given his approval to war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu for the complete occupation of Gaza. The bloodthirsty terrorist of Polish descent, who ought to have been in jail for crimes against humanity, flaunted the support for more genocide from Trump on Fox News today.
Will Israel take control of all of Gaza?
We intend to, in order to assure our security, remove Hamas there, enable the population to be free of Gaza, and to pass it to civilian governance. That is not Hamas and not anyone advocating the destruction of Israel. That's what we want to do. We want to liberate ourselves and liberate the people of Gaza from the awful terror of Hamas. And you were in the Gaza Strip today. You met Palestinians who are fighting Hamas because finally they see that they have a future. They can rid themselves of this awful tyranny that not only holds our hostages, but holds 2 million Palestinians in Gaza hostage. That's got to end.
Are you saying today that you will take control of the entire 26-mile Gaza Strip, as it was 20 years ago to this month in 2005?
Well, we don't want to keep it. We want to have a security perimeter. We don't want to govern it. We don't want to be there as a governing body. We want to hand it over to Arab forces.
For months, many of us have said that this dreaded terrorist was using the Hamas bogey to justify the massacre of innocent men, women, children, and babies in Gaza. It was never about hostages and Hamas. The Israeli barbarity, supported by the US, the UK, the EU, Canada, and Australia, among others, was always about killing Palestinians indiscriminately with an intention to establish a greater Israel. Today, many have been forced to change their mind. They include politicians in the UK, France, Canada, and Australia, and some media representatives such as Piers Morgan, etc. Netanyahu's latest announcement on Fox News and Trump's support for this occupation clearly prove that it was a part of a well-planned Western strategy to starve up to 2 million Palestinians for over 5 months. Trump was all along an active participant in this genocide. Just see how the State Department chap reacted when a reporter asked him about Trump's support to Israeli occupation of Gaza just a moment ago.
Now that the Israeli Prime Minister has confirmed in a Fox interview his intention to occupy all of Gaza, can you speak a little bit more on the U.S. position on this? Do you see this as a way that is helpful to secure the release of the hostages still being held there and to see humanitarian aid flow?
Well, what I can speak to is our policy and our initiatives here. And our three focuses, as the Secretary outlined yesterday, remain getting humanitarian aid into Gaza without it being looted by Hamas, remains seeing the hostages released, and remains making sure that Hamas cannot continue to exist, because there can be no long-term prosperity with Hamas as a governing force or otherwise within Gaza. So that's what our policy is, that's where our focus is, that's what I can speak to. For further details on Israel's policy, I would refer you to the government of Israel.
Trump too was asked about this yesterday, and his answer was, well, it's up to Israel.
Would you support Israel reoccupying all of Gaza, as has been suggested by some Israeli officials?
Well, I don't know what the suggestion is. I know that we are there now trying to get people fed. As you know, $60 million was given by the United States fairly recently to supply food, and a lot of food, frankly, for the people of Gaza that are obviously not doing too well with the food. And I know Israel's going to help us with that in terms of distribution and also money. We also have the Arab states are going to help us with that in terms of the money and possibly distribution. So that's what I'm focused on. As far as the rest of it, I really can't say. That's going to be pretty much up to Israel.
This chap could have denied, but he didn't. He could have denounced Netanyahu's announcement on the occupation, calling it illegal, but he didn't. What more proof do you need to conclude that Trump has been an active participant in this genocide? And he promised to end the Gaza genocide during the elections, something that helped him win Michigan, a state with a large Arab and Muslim population, in the last elections. This shameless man had the audacity to post this on social media today. He told his slave Arab rulers to normalize their relations with the settler colony now that he had obliterated Iranian nuclear sites. He knows that his slaves in the Arab world would obediently follow his order. His confidence emanates from the complete apathy of these slave Arab rulers to the suffering of Palestinians at the hands of the genocidal maniacs of Israel and the wider West. Even Republicans from Trump's own party have started to call out Israel's genocidal campaign in Gaza. Marjorie Taylor Greene said this to the Daily Mail of the UK, and I quote, "When people, innocent people, are systematically being killed for who they are, is that not the definition of genocide? I don't know why I am the only Republican saying it." End quote. Imagine the kind of world we live in. A Republican lawmaker in the US has the courage to call it a genocide, but slave Arab sheikhs don't. No wonder the real owner of the US, the AIPAC, has launched a desperate attack on Green and other lawmakers. AIPAC has started raising funds, millions of dollars, with an intention to ensure the defeat of these lawmakers in the next elections. I will make a separate video on this topic because this development in itself is quite extraordinary. Israelis have also been killing American citizens in the occupied West Bank, where this corrupt US House Speaker Mike Johnson visited last week to justify the murder of US nationals. When a reporter asked this horrible woman from the State Department, she had her usual nonsense that Israel would investigate its own crime.
Thanks, Tammy. Over the weekend, the State Department confirmed that Khamis Ayad, a Palestinian who died due to complications from smoke inhalation after trying to put out a fire started by allegedly Israeli settlers in a village in the West Bank, confirmed that he was a U.S. citizen. Is the U.S. State Department calling on Israel to investigate this death? Has this issue been raised with Israeli authorities?
Well, we have made comments before. There have been, it's a violent situation. There have been a few Americans who've passed in this kind of a dynamic, certainly also one in Syria. Our first priority, and it's not a motto or a slogan, is the safety and security of Americans everywhere. So certainly here at home, but also abroad. We know that when a death occurs in a foreign country, it's that foreign country's prerogative, right? They will be doing an investigation. We have called upon Israel to investigate, of course, each of these instances that they are.
This is their definition of America first, which effectively means the genocidal and rogue regime of terrorist Netanyahu first. Watch this visual from the occupied West Bank, where Israeli terrorists, with the support of the rogue Trump administration, has been displacing Palestinians and occupying their homes and properties. Just watch this latest visual. Sick and evil Israeli terrorists first dispossess the Palestinians from their homes, then steal their items, including this large fridge, and then mock them by handing over the bottle of a leftover milk. Would you still call these people normal? They're sick, depraved, psychopathic, and deranged. And the so-called civilized Western countries have been supporting this evil.
انت اكثر واحدة زبالة لانك واحدة عنصرية. هذا هو التهجير، هذا هو الترحيل القسري، هذا هو تطهير ethnic تهور ethnic اتم تهور ethnic. خليها إلك خليها إلك خليها إلك. عرفتم اكيد متعسفين متعسفين عرفتم مش لو يقدرتم ما متعسفين يا خارجين يا فشعين ايوه عليهم
This barbarity took place in the occupied East Al-Quds area of the occupied West Bank. Meanwhile, 4 more children have been killed by Israeli forced starvation, taking the toll to 200 in the last few days alone. I'm sure this is an occasion for a real celebration for the Arab slaves and their masters in the West. No wonder social media platforms are replete with posts where users are spitting on these genocidal maniacs. That's it from me. Thank you very much for your support of this platform and our journalism on buymeacoffee.com and Patreon. If you too think that our journalism is worth supporting, then you too should consider becoming part of it. Details are there in the description of this video. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.